From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Ants Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We take a look at some of the cameras here, some of the recent images, and you can see some of the overcast skies, just not looking at much in the way of rain for the valley today. Just some of those overcast skies that we've been kind of dealing with out there. Taking a look at the Trinity Center cam here, and you can see some of the leftover patchy snow that we saw from the storm over the weekends. And of course, still looking at those overcast skies there as well. Looking at Lassen Park at the south entrance of the park here. Still, of course, lots of snow. Some of those low clouds kind of lingering around the area, but really not much seen in the way of snow there either. So here's the deal. We've got continued chances for cool and unsettled weather this week with snow levels between 2,000 and 3,000 feet. But the major snow, that is, probably won't really hit areas until you get about 4,000 or 5,000 feet. Also, with these approaching storm systems, the winds are expected to pick up as well at times. So it'll be breezy and windy at times, especially for some of the higher elevations and especially to the east of the valley. So you can see the clouds that have kind of moved on in, but again, not much in the way of rain. This is the next disturbance that'll be moving in here. Really, with the timing of this one, looks to be sometime around tomorrow morning. So you can see here as we take it through the afternoon, it's fairly dry, maybe a little bit of a sprinkle activity off to the north and west. But by the morning hours and really overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning is really when that main moisture will kind of push on through. Heavy rainfall for parts of the coast here by late tonight and early tomorrow morning. Now some of that will push through the valley, giving us some light rain, but nothing terribly heavy. Now this is when we start to expect to see some of that snow in the higher elevations. At this point, it does look like snow levels on Tuesday will be around 3,000 feet and higher. So most likely in the form of rain, maybe a bit of a mix for places like Weaverville and Hayfork, but Mount Shasta City, again, maybe a bit of a mix there as well, getting close to maybe some light accumulation there. Out towards Alturas, Bernie, Chester, all of course looking at the potential for some of that light accumulating snow. Taking you to the noon hour on Tuesday, it really starts to kind of move on out and just some leftover flurries over some of the higher elevations for the second half of the day tomorrow. So really, the main event with this next storm system will be late tonight and early tomorrow morning. And then it really tapers off, even some clearing for the valley for Tuesday afternoon. Next storm system moves on in on Wednesday. And again, this is going to be another situation where it's kind of a overnight event Tuesday into early Wednesday morning. You can see some of the heavy rainfall, especially out towards Del Norte, Humboldt counties and into Trinity County as well. But we're also seeing some heavy snow in the mountains. This is when I do expect to see some of the heaviest impact when it comes to those mountain highways, especially down to as low as, say, 3,000 feet and locally lower. So you can see, of course, still looking at the snow off towards Mount Shasta City, Alturas, and I think this is a better chance of at least seeing that mix out towards Hayfork and not to mention in the Weaverville area as well, but most likely not much in the way of accumulating snow. But look at the valley. We're just not seeing much of it making its way through. There will be some light showers again, parts of Wednesday morning, but by Wednesday afternoon, it starts to dry out for the valley and still some scattered snow flurries in the higher elevations on Wednesday. So when we look at the rainfall totals, this pretty much verifies the fact that we do expect most of the rain to be on the coast, and then, of course, making its way into Trinity County. But look at the valley. I mean, I think we'll be lucky to get over 1/10 of an inch of rainfall. So I would say probably around 1/10 of an inch, give or take, for most of us in the valley. And, of course, less than that, heading off into the eastern mountains and Modoc County. So, again, we're talking about the forecast snow totals. Now, as I mentioned, I don't expect to see a lot of snow for a lot of the mountain communities like Mount Shasta, Bernie, or Chester, not to mention Alturas. But as we start to see snow in around 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 feet, that's when we're going to be measuring it upwards of a foot or more of snow. You see these pinks here, that's indicating at least 12 inches or more of snow. And again, that's over some of the highest elevations. Now, look at the storm impacts. And it just takes the overall impacts of the snow coming in. And of course, today, very minimal, right? We take you to tomorrow, it's fairly limited, but we're beginning to see places like Highway 89, maybe some minor impacts there, maybe around Cedar Pass. So again, over some of the higher mountain passes, you may run into a few problems tomorrow. But I think the bigger impacts will be on Wednesday. This is when I expect to see some of the heaviest snow moving through the area. So it could quite possibly impact places, kind of see the yellows here, minor, close to moderate as far as any chain requirements on I-5. Now look at Highway 299 corridor. Looks like for the most part, it'll be fairly limited as far as the overall impacts. If you look closely, here is kind of the county line here. That's about where Buckhorn Summit is. It's within that minor category. So there may be some light accumulating snow on Buckhorn Summit on Highway 299. And of course, we're within that minor to moderate category as you start heading east of I-5. And the typical areas in the higher mountain passes east of I-5 is where we're going to see the biggest impact. We look at the winds, and they're not a problem today, but I think over some of the higher mountain ridges, especially off to the east and not to mention north, there could be the potential for some blowing snow and some gusty winds creating some lower visibility. And there you can see Wednesday morning, as I mentioned, it's mainly in the east mountains, including places like Bernie and Chester, that could be looking at some of those gusty winds, giving us more of that blowing snow, but the wind should start to die down as we take you into Wednesday afternoon and evening. Here's your long-range forecast model, taking you to Thursday and Friday, looking mainly dry. Now, the European forecast model still has a chance for showers in there, so I've got a slight chance in there, but for now, looks fairly dry for the end of the week. Then by Saturday, we've got another storm system coming in. Looks like snow levels could be fairly low, maybe around 1,500 feet, give or take. But again, the forecast model's been having a hard time with that. So, of course, as we get closer to the weekend, get a better handle on that. Sunday, it looks like we'll dry things out and should keep it dry as we go into Monday of next week. So your wave heights are expected to increase with the approaching storm system late tonight and early tomorrow morning. That'll give us some fairly high wave heights, especially as you start heading out here. But we take a look at what it looks like out there for today. Mainly dry conditions. There may be a few sprinkles off to the north and west, but overall dry and cool out there. There are going to be some breaks in the clouds, though, later on this afternoon. Look at that 7-day outlook. There, of course, some of the showers we saw this morning, some snow flurries, otherwise off and on chances. Now, again, I've got the chance in there for Thursday and Friday, especially for Mount Shasta and Alturas, but dry conditions for Susanville. Most likely, I would say we're going to be more dry than wet on Thursday and Friday. Again, just depends on which forecast model you look at. Now, looking at the 7-day outlook for the valley, some showers tomorrow morning, some showers Wednesday morning, but by the afternoon for both days, it should be dry. I've got you dry on Thursday, Friday, with more rain coming in on Saturday of this upcoming weekend. Your 7-day outlook for the coast. There you can see, of course, the showers in the morning on Tuesday, more showers Wednesday, slight chance, looks like for Thursday, Friday, again, depending on which forecast model you look at, but it does look like overall a better chance for rain coming in by Saturday.